in the 1870s, 1873, and he's been a Narrabri Shire resident all of his life, and he's been involved in grazing, dryland cropping and irrigated crops. And it's in the irrigated crops that I know a little bit about him, because he's a cotton grower and he's probably one of the world's best. I know that because Australian cotton growers are the world's best, and Jeff's right up there. Now, of course, Jeff's been involved in all sorts of really important,
but also to the things that we need in our own life, and the number one of those is water. It's worth thinking for a moment. I don't know how much has been spent in the US trying to find out what's going on Mars, and with particular emphasis to find out whether there's water there. We live in the Namoi Valley and we know where the water is, but we've got governments that don't want to acknowledge it. They're quite happy for it to be ruined. They're quite happy to put it at risk without going through due process and genuinely slowing it down so that we can learn as we go. Why am I here tonight? I'm here to share with you the reasons that I feel that we're under great threat and that we have been betrayed. We've certainly been betrayed by our governments at all levels, all three levels, and it hasn't been done accidentally. We know that the politicians are concerned about coal seam gas because they've banned it in their own backyard. Premier O'Farrell, one of his first acts was, "Oh no, we won't have it around Sydney, thank you, and you can get out of our water catchment. Don't worry about that." They don't want it in their backyard, but suddenly it's all right for us to have it, and we don't think that's right. Not only have they banned it from being drilled and procured from under their feet, but they've also taken action legislatively in both federal and state parliament to make sure that we cannot go and sue anybody individually or collectively. They've passed laws that says anything to do with this, we're free from rebuttal. The only way we can get them is at the ballot box. We also know that their partners, the coal seam gas companies, and I'll acknowledge that they are probably not breaking the law because they've been encouraged by the government to go and do what they're doing, but they've been aided and abetted by the government, and they've accepted that wholeheartedly to go and drill, and as part of that deal they are almost as untouchable in the court of law as the politicians are. So here we are, we've been snookered, and that's far too soft a word, isn't it? We've been betrayed. We have had no say in this. We listened at the last election to what the political parties said, and we now know what they did. So we have to get ourselves to be anxious, to be alert, and to get out and have a go. We need to invoke the spirit of Anzac, Eureka Stockade to win this one, because it's big money and it's been fostered on us against the will of the people. We know out where I live, there's 500,000 hectares out there where people have been interviewed and sought their opinion, and almost to a man they are totally against it. This surveying is going on in a lot of areas, and the numbers are becoming more and more difficult for the politicians to ignore. It's soon not going to be good enough to say, it's all right to have your point of view, Jeff, but you're wrong. Well, I think the right to fresh air, clean air, to have uncontaminated water and uncontaminated soil is pretty much more than just a government given right. I think any of us who breathes and lives requires those three elements, and we need them not to be destroyed in a way that they are unusual. I think what we need to acknowledge is that we're going to have to do it, and we need to get angry about it. Not in so much punching one another in the face, but make them squirm in their seats when they look at us. We need to get at them. Throughout the world, and I've driven through Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona, Utah and Nevada, and I've seen a bit of coal seam gas in John's country, and one of the things you hear is right across the spectrum, oh, it's been a revolution, this gas, it's changed the nation. Sure, there's a bit of collateral damage, but it's been worth it. Now, I can assure you, anyone that says that isn't one of the ones that are having the collateral damage. And when you're in a big country, most people don't know anyone that's had collateral damage. But when you're where we are, in the valley, trying to earn a living, we know where the collateral damage will be. It'll be in every one of our backyards. We need not to let the word collateral damage be glossed over, because we know that the government understands it, because they've legislated to excuse themselves. We know that they've legislated to excuse the gas companies. To a large extent, it is almost impossible for an individual to raise an individual case and take it to court with any chance of success, because the water aquifer policy says the whole of the aquifer has to be damaged before you can take a class action. If that happens to be the Great Artesian Basin, that means it's got to be damaged up in the Gulf country as well. So you can see how one-sided this is. The reason I say collateral damage, because we know that in a technical term it means some unintended consequence of a targeted action. If you're in the military, you'll know that collateral damage usually means that you've killed a whole bunch of the population accidentally. And I think that's a lot closer to the description that fits us than the technical one.
Talk to us about a real life experience of what living in a gas field and with gas companies is all about. John.